Good morning. We want to welcome you this morning to the Drainage District, Hidalgo County Drainage District Board of Directors meeting for today, December the 10th, 2013. President are Commissioner Cuellar, Precinct 1, and Commissioner Palacios, Precinct 2, and myself. We have a quorum. Anything under open forum?
No, sir.
Our consent agenda, any concerns?
No concerns.
Everything in order? Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item number 4.
Item 4A, approval to submit a letter to the Water Management Strategy submittal form to include the Delta Watershed Bond Project into the 2017 Rio Grande Regional Water Planning Group, Region M, for inclusion in the state's water plan through the Texas Water Development Board for funding under Proposition 6. This is our submittal to the Region M for the Delta Watershed Project to make sure that it's on the Region M plan in order for us to facilitate additional funding options that are coming up in the future under the Proposition 6. This is part of the direction we had from this board to resubmit whatever applications we could to look for additional funding in the future for the...
We've already sent a letter, right? On
We
this.
sent the letter, Judge. This is, in other words, when Proposition 6 passed, those $2 billion, part of the, I think it's 10 to 20% of those $2 billion is being reserved for reuse and water reclamation. So by this being on the Region M, it gives the county or the district the ability to apply for those monies for future construction.
And the plan is to apply for the Delta area.
Yeah,
This is for the Delta area, sir.
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B, discussion and action as it relates to repairs to the Peñita Pump House IBWC levee system around the Edinburgh pump site. We had the opportunity to meet with Commissioner Lucina last week at the judge's office. He briefed the judge regarding the movement of the IBWC moving forward on the project. We had meetings in the past with some of his staff. The status that I received from the commissioner, as the judge wants to expand on it, is that they're moving forward on the reconstruction of the Peñitas drain on the closure itself. I did get notified from Louis Jones from Danimum Engineering that as of yesterday, he was notified, or their firm was notified by the IBWC that his request for services had been submitted to the contract division of the IBWC, and that the IBWC contract division would be contacting them to begin negotiations. The discussion we had with the commissioner, his best case scenario was about 2 years or 2.5 years before the closure itself was done completely by them, and that is subject to if all the funding was available. Right now, if the pricing stays equitable, that they would have enough money. If not, it was still subject to trying to find any additional money they might need to construct that. The item that was discussed was the potential of moving forward on the interim closure that they built under the emergency several years back. And we discussed with them that if he could check through the IBWC's records, if we had the ability to go on there and reconstruct the closure that's there right now. He mentioned that they had spent a little over $200,000 in building that interim closure. Part of it has been removed already by Irrigation District Number 1 in order for them to have access down into their pumping system. He did show us some potential structural deficiencies on the pump itself, that when they started doing some interim work, the contractor, not ours, but a contractor accidentally hit the structure and did some fracturing on the inside. He provided the judge with some photos on that item. And the reason we have this on the agenda for the board's consideration, if the board wishes for us to move forward and start getting some additional information as to what the cost would be for the interim construction on that, again, subject to the IBWC allowing us to move on board and rebuilding that levee, subject to Irrigation District Number 1 allowing us to get on their property because they are the owners of the property, and doing whatever geotech analysis or whatever needs to be done to make sure that the ground is stable underneath where we're building or proposing to build some type of closure in there. We guesstimate that the cost could be $600,000, $700,000, $800,000. As I mentioned before, the IBWC said that they had spent a little over $200,000, and they felt that should be a comfortable number subject to whatever the underground conditions are, because you just can't stack dirt on top without understanding what might happen underneath. So it's open for the board's direction to us to which way they want to move.
Judge, I'm very concerned with IBWC's interest in coming to the table with the county to discuss all these potential problems in the area. There was a meeting that was scheduled or trying to be scheduled with the congressional staff or members and IBWC. And I would like to believe that somebody was working on setting up a meeting with the IBWC.
They were, but what happened was Mr. Drusina, the commissioner, had a trip down here, and he just called and said, "I'd like to go by and talk to you and visit with you." So we called Godfrey that same day, or actually the following morning when he came. And that's where we were able to meet with him. But I was trying to set up a meeting where as many people as possible could attend, including the congressman and the senator.
And we were led to believe also, Commissioners, that Commissioner Drusina did not advise the congressional staffers that he was coming down over here, and he just happened to call the judge's office to see if the judge was available, and that's when I got a call. But I do not believe that this answers the request that this board made to the commissioner and to the congressional staffers, that y'all wanted to meet with the congressman and IBWC for him to give in detail the situation to this board.
What we're facing at this point, we've got the same issue that was present in 2006, or whenever the Commissioners Court agreed to that $60 million investment into the $260 million project. We're concerned about flooding, and we were concerned about the insurance cost rising as a result of FEMA declaring the area a flood zone. Well, as we know, we came to find out 2-3 weeks ago that that problem, after $260 million been used to upgrade the levee system, which was properly used and works, we still have the potential of flooding. We still have the potential of increase in insurance costs because of the deficiency of the Edinburgh pump station there, or the Peñitas pump station that we call Edinburgh pump station. And we need to decide whether we're going to wait this 2.5, 3 years for the government to fix it and take a chance that there's no hurricane coming in during those 2 years. I'll go out there and spend could be as little as 200, could be as much as 700,000-800,000, depending on what our bids turn out to be, and just get it done and get it fixed the way that was described by Mr. Garza, which was to reinforce the mound of the levee. What do you call that barrier?
It's a coffer dam is what it amounts to.
Oh, if we do it, chances are very slim to get our money back, right?
Oh, you're not going to get your money back.
My concern, Judge, is that I think IBWC is, I don't want to use the word playing around with, but they're not being straight with the court.
Well, that's another issue, but I agree with you, and we confronted. I mean, we very directly asked him, what's the problem? Why did you misrepresent things to us? You did it in writing. We relied on it. And the gentleman then started telling us something that we hadn't heard. He was blaming some of the contractors and subcontractors that were involved in the project, that they gave them bad specs, bad engineering information, and as a result, the contractor could not proceed, and that's why they had not finished. But I mean, that was 3-4 years ago. But that's where we are. We either fix it and avoid the flooding, or we wait until the government does it. And frankly, I don't care to wait. I don't think we should wait. We never know what's going to happen during the next hurricane season, and I don't want to take a chance on we should not take a chance on over the next 2 or 3 years.
I think that's a pretty big risk, to wait, so we probably need to move on it and don't take a chance.
I agree with you 100%, but we need to be sure that we get the right information out to the public by IBWC and bring it here so he can explain to us and the general public what the potential problem is out there and what they're doing about it. It's a federal project, I'm not project, problem, and they have to deal with it. And personally, I don't think we're getting what we need from IBWC. They have misled us, I think, personally, into thinking something is being done, when in essence it's not. But I would like to have the commission come in publicly here and address the court to that extent.
And we asked them also, Commissioner, they had committed to us back in October that the commissioner and the FEMA director from Region 6 Denton would be coming down here for a public meeting and advising the public the status, so they will understand that it is not an item that the county or the district is requiring. It is an item that two federal agencies are requiring to get done, and neither federal agency is coming up with the dollars. They're just giving us a mandate, per se, and saying, you're going to get insurance because the levies aren't fixed. And the IBWC is saying, well, the levies aren't fixed, and we've got to see if we can get the money to fix the levies. So, it's just being tossed on us again like it was 6 years ago.
Right.
But we did ask him to come again, sir.
That's the way I feel about it, Judge, and
If the board wishes, I will move forward and try and get some information from the Irrigation District 1 on see what kind of permission they'll give us. If we do decide to go forward on that, we will continue the dialogue with IBWC, as he mentioned to you, Judge, that he would send the letter checking with his legal department to see if we could get on the levee systems that they built. And it's just a gathering of information and no pulling the trigger on moving forward on anything until we have a better foundation.
Well, the hurricane season is about, what, 6 months away?
5
or
months away,
something?
sir. Yeah.
How long a project is that, once you get it
I would
started?
say it's probably maybe 30 days, 45 days, Commissioner, unless we have to remove everything. But I can't give you that until we have at least a preliminary engineering report of what's there and what's underground in order to move forward. And I'll get some type of cost finalized to present to y'all on preliminary engineering report before y'all pull the trigger.
Well, I'd like for you to proceed to figure out, I don't think there's any question we need to do it.
Yes, sir.
I mean, unless one of the
No, no,
commissioners is
pero-
against it. So work on trying to get what is needed.
Judge, I would like to know whose responsibility it is. IBWC responsible in any way, form, shape of taking care of that problem? I would like again, I would request that you try and send out an invitation to them.
Well, we can push on the meeting, but that's totally different. I mean, I don't think, they've agreed, they've accepted responsibility, but they've also told us how long it's going to take for them to fix it.
Yeah.
And I think the judge is correct on that because the judge did question him directly. Are you responsible or not? Because your letter gives us the impression that you're saying that you're not responsible. And they said, yes, we're responsible, but if we have the money to fix
Yeah,
it, we'll
but
fix it.
this is side conversations, is
Yes, sir.
the way I look at it.
Yes, sir.
I think publicly he needs to come before the court and tell us that in an open meeting.
We will
But
submit
we don't
it.
want to wait until we can put together
No,
a meeting and all that. Let's just start working on trying to fix it.
I'm with you on that.
Okay? And we,
In the meantime, I think we need to make sure that he gets out here so the public can understand what.
well, that would be, in a perfect world, that would be the best way of handling it, but,
If we can start moving on it and
We'll
you
submit
can start
letters
working on
again requesting the meeting to
and
come before
request a
commission.
meeting and try and get them in here as soon as possible, and maybe you can start moving on.
And we'll
they
move-
haven't,
I don't want, I would like to see him come and address the court as opposed to having side meetings with one individual.
well, there was more than one, and I did ask him to put it in writing, and he assured me he was going to put it in writing, but we haven't received it yet.
That's kind of,
Yes, ma'am.
Since IBWC took responsibility, is there any hope they're going to pay us back if we fix it?
Well,
We're gonna at least take a chance and see if it'll happen, but the affected ones are gonna be out.
It's not going to happen, is it? Well, I would say one thing. If you're going to take out the pump and have to remove it and everything, you should do it when the farmers don't need the water so badly. So think about that.
well, we got to do it before the hurricanes hits us, so that's a big issue. The problem is flooding.
I kind of wish we could sue the IWC, whatever, IBWC,
You
and
know-
tell them it's your responsibility, so do it.
Do you know an attorney by any chance?
You know, don't put us in danger because of you not acting. I mean, that doesn't seem fair.
Well, I just
Okay.
wanted to.
All right, so you got...
Yes, sir, I've got direction, and I'll report back to the board in the next couple of weeks. on where
All
we're
right,
at.
sir.
Item 5, requesting approval to research various financial options for the purchase of heavy equipment. We have some equipment that the board authorized us to purchase. We've looked at doing a lease purchase on it. We feel the interest is somewhat high. We would like authority to start talking to some of the other financial institutes to see what kind of rate we can get for a 2 or 3 year note in order to purchase the equipment instead of doing the lease option. We've had some preliminary discussions with Lone Star Bank already, which is our depository, and we're working on some numbers, and we've got our bond counsel engaged on it also to see what kind of rates we can get on the tax exemption on it. So we're just requesting authority to look at some different financial options and bring them back to the board.
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 6, approval of supplemental agreement number 2 for S&B Infrastructure LTD for an extension of time as it relates to the Raymondville drain outfall. This is an extension till August of 2014, which is about 8-9 month extension, which fits into the schedule that we're proposing y'all as far as getting notification and clearance to move the program forward by this summer. There's no money involved in it, it's just a time extension.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Under item 7, 2013 bond series, requesting approval for supplemental agreement number 1 to work authorization number 13 with Tennessee Infrastructure Group, Inc., Precinct 1, 2012 bond referendum, improvements project agreement as it relates to geotech services for the Delta Watershed Project. This is a sub-consulting agreement with Robert Kishner to begin some of the geotesting on the ground conditions on where we're projecting to build the watershed before we determine if that is the best location. We need to look at soil conditions, clay, water tables, et cetera, for the area in order to move forward the development.
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B, requesting approval to rescind action taken by the Drainage District Board of Directors on August 13, 2013, agenda item number 40066, item J, 1 through 4. Originally, the commissioner, and this is related to Precinct 2, the commissioner had thought we would bid out the projects that he has on the rural drainage for individual subdivisions. He has now requested that we change that into 2 and combining 2 subdivisions and putting out 2 separate projects. So we're requesting action to rescind the previous action of having it into 4, and then the next item will develop it into 2.
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item C, requesting approval to advertise for RFP number HCDD number 114001, 0108, Precinct 2 Rural Drainage Development, Northside Village, Hidden Valley Subdivision Area Drainage Improvements.
So moved.
Second.
Hold on, call you back. And go, I'm sorry, you were on C?
There's a motion.
Yes, sir.
There's a motion and a second. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Under item 8, and I'll defer a possible action, no action, approval to accept check from Hidalgo County in the amount of $22,216 as it relates to the .17 acres in downtown Mission. Balde, I don't know if y'all got that cleared up or yet or not for us to receive that money. I know Atlas Hall was handling the closing on it.
We submitted the checks to the Drainage District.
So are we clear to accept that check?
Judge, Commissioners Godfrey, with your approval, give me a second to check with the budget office. I want to check on one thing. I do believe we have a executive session item.
Yes, sir, we do.
So could I ask that we, after executive session, we go back to that one item?
All right. Anything else before we proceed to executive?
No, sir, I believe it's just executive session to discuss some issues.
Again.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries. Yes, sir. We're going back into open session on our Drainage District Board meeting.
Judge, if the board would consider going back to the one item that we recessed on, and I'll let Mr. Guerra explain that one particular item on the check from the county.
Thank you. Godfrey, I'm going to go ahead and recommend that you take action on that action item. We've verified where the document in question is. We're going to get it over to the auditor's office. So I'm asking that you go ahead and accept the check, and then I'll facilitate the actual delivery of that.
So your recommendation for us, the drainage to accept a check in the amount of?
$22,216.
Move for approval?
Second.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
On the items in executive session, I will proceed as directed by the board.
Very good, sir.
That is it
Need
for
a
today.
motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Thank you very
sir.
much, Judge Commissioners.
We are now convening our regular meeting of the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court for today, December the 10th, 2013. Present are Commissioners Cuellar, Precinct 1, Palacios, Precinct 2, Flores, Precinct 3, and myself. We have a quorum. Please join us in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Father in heaven, thank you for this day. Thank you for all the blessings you give us. We need wisdom from everybody involved in the county, so there will be good decisions made that will help everyone. We need peace in our world. We need peace in our families, peace in our nation. We need to remember the Christmas season is really about giving, not getting. So help us, dear Lord. Help us keep our minds straight and lead us in the right direction. We ask all of this in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
I would ask you to please remain standing and join us for a moment of silence in honor of the memory of two members of our Hidalgo County family who passed away this week. First one is Hidalgo County Detention Officer Berta Garza, whom was a 13-year veteran of the Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office. She is survived by her parents, Alejandro and Gloria Garza, two sisters, Belinda Madrigal and Monica Sanchez, and her maternal grandmother, Diamantina Maldonado, her best friend, Mario Hernandez, her nephew, Richard Madrigal, and many aunts, uncles, and cousins. Also, Hidalgo County Sheriff's Deputy Mario Leal, who was a 29-year veteran of law enforcement. He served the people of La Villa in Hidalgo County over his entire career. A native of Mercedes and resident of La Villa, he leaves behind his wife, Adela, children, Mario Jr., Alicia, his mother, Leonor Leal, and his siblings, Maria Gloria Bazan and Jesus Leal Jr., Santos Leal, and Espiridion Leal. We honor their memory and their service to the people of Hidalgo County. Thank you. In the matter of the consent agenda, any concerns?
Judge, I would like to ask that consent agenda item 3B, as in boy, 3C, as in Charlie, 4C, 10B, and 10I be pulled for discussion.
Move for approval. pulling out 3B, 3C, 4C, 10B, and 10I.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Consent agenda item 3B,
First three readers,
there's not a need for that transfer.
Correct. Agenda items 3B, 3C, and 4C, we're requesting no action. We'll bring those back at a future date.
All right, no action on 3B as in boy, and which other one?
C and 4C.
All right, so now we need to address 10B as in boy.
Yes. The vendor has been advised, the consent agenda, the concern is that their insurance has expired yesterday. We recommend approval, subject that we have notified the vendor and we are to be supplied the renewals today. So it is subject to compliance with their insurance renewals.
They are?
Yes.
We've got coverage.
If they don't produce it, then the item wouldn't,
Second.
wouldn't be
Those in
valid.
favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
On 10I,
Aye.
the insurance documents have been provided to auditor's office. Late last night, I brought a copy and provided them also to Ms. Chavez. This will confirm that the vendor did have coverages during his time of service. He no longer has coverages, but they weren't without the tour
That
service.
is not correct. During the term of the service, the insurance expired.
No, sir, we have just given your staff, he had
Okay.
coverage.
But the documentation that we had yesterday
Correct.
reflected that.
And
we
late
have
last night.
A renewal?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
all right.
Late last night, we provided them, and I have just given a hard copy.
Yeah. We also had an issue with the invoice. The invoice doesn't consolidate with the, confirm with the work
Correct.
schedule. So
In your-
we need to modify the work schedule in order for it to comply.
Well, the work schedule gives you projected hours, projected time. However, the overall work authorization came in under the budget. If it was a projected 4 hours, I believe one of the items was that there were 7 hours applied to instead of 4. But it was the projected amount of time.
We're going by the work schedule, so if you want it to be different, it needs to be modified in order for us to pay it.
Well, I'm just saying because the work schedule gives you the estimated work
I understand
times.
what you're saying, Marty. I've reviewed it and it needs to be modified in order for us to pay. So it's up to you.
All right, you're recommending approval?
Yes, sir.
And what I'm saying is I won't be able to process payment unless the work schedule is modified.
But is the work schedule actual or estimated?
I'm sorry?
They're
Is the work
projected.
schedule a projected work schedule or an actual work schedule?
It's a projected work schedule. However, it has the estimated amounts that are going to be billed by each task, and he's billing outside of those tasks. So it needs to be modified so it complies with the invoice.
Yet it did not exceed by $10,000, the total.
Yeah, but it's a task, Marty. Each task is listed. It has
I
got number of
know, Mr.
hours, it's got dollar
Ofracio,
amounts.
But was the contract amount exceeded?
I'm sorry?
Was the contract amount exceeded on the
What
projected
is
work
exceeding,
schedule?
it's exceeding the amount for each task.
He's saying
But
it's
that was-
exceeding the line
But it
item.
was a projected work schedule only.
Yeah, it is a projected work schedule. However, the tasks that he performed and the tasks that are listed on this work schedule, he exceeded those amounts. So it needs to be modified and.
Marty, can you give me a copy of that?
Yes, sir.
and review
I
it?
will forward it to you.
You want to wait until?
No, I recommend action.
What?
I recommend action.
Subject to what?
Well, it's going to be in his
Subject
his
to the
court.
auditor's
Yeah,
approval.
we can just approve it subject to the auditor.
Yes, sir.
Marty,
That's what happens anyway, so.
But it's real simple, just modify the schedule and I can pay it. I mean, I don't know why you hung up on the work schedule.
I don't know why you're hung up on projected. That's exactly what it is, projected.
All right,
Move for approval.
need a second? Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries. Thank you.
I needed to ask, even though this is consent agenda and it's passed, what is public and private sector? It says in various public and private sector.
Where are you reading?
She's
Uh,
reading the
on-
title of the actual, the agenda item itself,
The one that you've been
And-
discussing?
and she's reading the original title of the contract. The title of the contract is Professional Consulting Services to Assist, Assess, Review, and Facilitate Hidalgo County's Revenue and Expenditure Efficiencies in various public and private sector, including all funding sources, programs, and entities. This would have been to assess and analyze all the revenue streams that the county receives and/or is potential to go out and seek.
What private sector would be involved?
Grants of some type. You've got grants that are not all publicly based. They're not all government grants.
I think that was the title of the contract and
Right.
and of the project, but
You'd
the
have to
work
read the
done was
work.
not exactly what the title of the project said. He did something else. He did consulting work for, I don't know, precinct 4 or precinct 2, one of those. I'm sorry. the
Which
county-
permitted it under the contract.
I think
You
under-
need
for
to see
drainage
the work authorization to look at exact tasks that were going to be done.
Okay, well, thank you, ma'am.
That's just the general title. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next item, open forum. First presenter, Opal Billman.
Good morning. My name is Opal Billman. In May of 1996, when I was sued for divorce, the judge's only job was to divide our community property into a fair divorce settlement. The judge determined our community property was excess land with no value which could not be divided, therefore keeping all of our community property in the court by doing nothing. The court had absolutely no authority to do so, but the judge appointed our son to manage what the court had determined was worthless, the so-called excess land with no value. Therefore, not only keeping all of our community property, but using our son to take control of all of the income the community property of Joe and me is producing. That is the court taking all of our community property and the income it is earning for free. Nobody can sue a court, but actions of the courts are supposed to be constitutional and lawful. According to the World Book Encyclopedia, false imprisonment is any unlawful restraint of a person's freedom of motion. It makes no difference whether the victim is actually locked in a jail or a room or merely restrained by threat or a show of force. False imprisonment is considered an offense both against the victim and against the state. The victim may sue for damages or charge the offender with the crime or both. A writ of habeas corpus requires that the government show just cause before it can hold a person in custody. The judge court-ordered that when my physical presence is on our community property, I am to be confined to the house. This court order is enforced by the Mission Police. Joe died. The law is the judge must dismiss the case. The case must be closed. The court must remove the case from the court's docket. In a divorce action, the judge does not get all of our community property and income for free, or get to keep me forever imprisoned in order to do so. The judge refuses to uphold the law. He will not close the case. The court wants now to pose that it is the owner by adverse possession. The court's actions do not meet the legal requirements for adverse possession. In Hidalgo County, Texas, United States of America, I have been held in false imprisonment for
less than a minute.
17 years. And undivided one half of the community property and the income it is producing belongs to me. The other one half of the community property and the income belongs equally to the 3 heirs of Joe Billman. Owners of this community property are due an accounting of our income from the 275th District Court. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next presenter is Fern McClarity.
Well, she just used 3 minutes, 41 seconds, .3, and I started the time when you called her name. So I don't know what timing y'all are using, but we're running out of, not giving us enough, our 5-minute time.
I advised her that she had a minute left, and she chose not to take it. That's her issue.
No. When you called it, that she had whatever you said, this is how much she used. And we can't understand if you're saying you have 1 minute left or not.
Yes. Go ahead.
I spoke everything I had written down.
Thank you, ma'am.
My question today, the first thing I wanted to say was Merry Christmas, and to everyone to remember what the season is about, what the holiday is about. And then I just wanted to question again about the professional consulting services. You just okayed $27,540. And then I see on 19A, you're talking about the settlement, BP Deepwater, and it's going to be a consulting service. I get more phone calls lately as to why the county has to have so many consultants. I said, I'll just keep asking y'all what it is and why we spend so much money on them. Again, Merry Christmas.
Next presenter is Ruben Ramirez. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners, concerned citizens. I want to say good morning. My name is Ruben Ramirez. I've been a lifelong resident of Hidalgo County. I wanted to bring it to your attention that ever since I was young, my father instilled voting, the importance of voting, becoming informed, and things of that nature. I still remember voting with him when I was young in Holy Family Catholic Church. Now, I have voted in every single election that I have been legally able to, right, since I turned 18. Recently, I just came back from a deployment in Afghanistan. Now, your all's election department was amazing. I spoke to him on the phone and everything of that nature. Now, the issue that I wanted to bring to your attention today is the inability, or how can I say it, the difficulty in sending my ballot. My ballot was sent via email, and it was to be printed off a printer. In there was kind of like a pre-printed envelope, but it wasn't really an envelope. Somehow I was supposed to fold that paper and make it into an envelope, stick my ballot in there, and then mail it. Free of charge, obviously, right? Anybody that's ever served knows it's free mail. Now, what I want you all to do, or I'm asking that you all do, is for military members or people that are overseas, or just anybody who wants to vote via absentee ballot, that you make it a little bit easier. When I was at Texas A&M University and I voted absentee ballot, you all sent me a package that had the ballot in there with a pre-printed envelope that all I had to do was fill it out, fold it, put it in the envelope, lick it, seal it, deliver it. Now, I find it extremely important for us to vote and military members to vote. If y'all can help facilitate that process and make it even easier for us, just saving us that step and trying to find an envelope, it would be greatly appreciated, gentlemen.
Yes.
All right?
First of all, thank you for your military service.
My pleasure. It's an
And
honor to
Yvonne,
serve y'all.
did you understand the issue? Can you respond to him, not now, but in writing, or you can meet, that's our elections administrator?
Yes.
That young lady, Yvonne Ramon.
And I want to thank them. Like I said, they were nothing but amazing responding back to me. It's just the new form of sending those absentee ballots overseas was very not conducive, and I missed my first election ever.
Hopefully, she'll address your concerns to your
Thank you.
satisfaction. If not, let us know.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for listening.
Thank
Y'all
you.
have a good one. Merry Christmas.
Next presenter is Karina.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. I'm here to announce to all Hidalgo County officials and employees that we are having our annual Hidalgo County Employee Christmas Party. That's this Friday, December 13, 2013, at the FAR Event Center at 6 p.m. We encourage everyone to come and attend and enjoy a lively evening with our fellow employees. There will be door prizes for the employees, and they're actually pretty good door prizes. I'm hearing there might be some trips to Vegas or things like that. So we'll be announcing that and reminding employees to attend, but I wanted to announce it publicly as well. Additionally, I would like to announce the meetings for Commissioners Court for the rest of the year. There will be no meeting next Tuesday. The last meeting for 2013 will take place on Friday, 12/20 at 9:30 a.m., 9 o'clock drainage. That meeting will also air on KMBH Friday at 10 p.m., Friday at 12/20. The county Christmas holidays. The county will be closed Tuesday, December 24th and Wednesday, December 25th for Christmas, and the following week on Tuesday, December 31st and Wednesday, January 1st for New Year's. The first meeting for the 2014 year will be on January 7th, Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. here in this meeting room, 9 o'clock drainage. Thank you very much, and we hope everyone enjoys happy holidays.
Next presenter is Ivan Ramon.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. I would like to let the Judge and the Commissioners know that the new voter certificates were mailed out on Thursday, December 5th. We mailed close to 300,000 voter certificates. So I'd like to tell each and every person that is listening today and anyone else that needs to know this, that if you do not receive your certificate by the 20th of December, then you need to call the office at 318-2570 and inquire as to why. It's very, very important with redistricting, with all the annexations that are taking place, with all the changes with our boundary lines, that if in fact you do receive your certificate, that you look at your certificate, see if your precinct changed, see if your representation changed, so that you are ready before the primary to make sure that you are knowledgeable of everything you have to know. I'd like to have a special thank you to my staff, two supervisors, Brenda Renteria and Belinda Sagredo, and their staff members who made this happen. Amidst all the elections and everything that is happening, it's a big challenge, and it has the correct name, massive mail-out, because it's massive. I'd also like to give a special thank you to the postmaster here in Edinburgh, Rudy Reese, who worked with us so well and made this happen. We were, in fact, one day early from the deadline that the law placed on us. Also, a special thank you to purchasing as we got ready for this massive mail-out with their guidance and their support. So please know that the certificates have gone out, and we need your input. If in fact you receive a certificate at your address and it doesn't belong to you, send it back with a little notation as to why. If someone is deceased, if a loved member is deceased, again, you need to let the office know so that we can continue to update our records. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, item 6A. Jaime?
So item 6A is discussion, consideration, and action regarding the written resolution and ballot selection of the Appraisal District Board of Directors for 2014-2015. Judge, I want to acknowledge the fact that we do have the Chief Appraiser, Rolando Garza, is in the audience, and if he would come up in case there's any questions. My understanding, we did receive a letter in the judge's office regarding the election of the board members for the Appraisal District. And the election needs to take place before December the 15th. And for your reference, we've attached a copy of the actual tallies as they stand through December the 6th, I believe, for your review, Judge.
All right, as I understand it, you provided every commissioner with a copy of the tally list as it exists today? The packet?
Yes, sir.
All right. And for the benefit of the public, this is where all of the public bodies in the county, the drainage district, the cities and the schools all cast their ballots in favor of whomever they would like to see sitting on the Hidalgo County Appraisal Board of Directors.
Yes, sir.
And the magic number in order to win is, I believe, 837?
Mathematically, the number would be 837 for a candidate to win with no problems.
And we have 8 applicants, 8
There are 8
candidates,
nominees.
out of which we need to select 5?
There are 8 nominees. The county has 1,185 votes that it may distribute any way it wishes.
All right. Now, this is the way that we have been. When I say we, let me just lay out some figures. The first one is Eddie Cano. He presently has 552.57. It's proposed that he get an additional 255 from the county, and 30 from the drainage, for a total of 837.57. Albert Cardenas, who now has 679.14, that he be given an additional 128 from the county and 30 from drainage, for a total of 837.14. The next nominee is Rudy Elizondo. He presently has 98, that he be granted another 15 for a total of 113. The next one, a nominee is Pete Garcia, who presently has 252.29, that he be granted another 15 for a total of 267.29. The next nominee is Richard A. Garza, presently has 594.20, that he be granted 213 votes from the county and 30 from the drainage, for a total of 837.20. The next nominee is David Hernandez, who presently has 292, that he be granted 515 votes from the county and 30 from the drainage, for a total of 837. The next nominee is Angel Magallanes, who presently has 403.8, that he be granted 15 votes from the county, for a total of 418.8. The next nominee is Amador Requeñas, who presently has 783 votes, that he be granted 229 from the county and 25 from the district, for a total of 837. Are there any discussions?
Oh, no.
Now, Judge, we failed to include this particular item on the drainage agenda, and I spoke to Mr. Garza about that particular item. Given that this is the Commissioner's Court and not the drainage district.
Yeah, I don't think it'll make a difference.
That's right, exactly.
Numerically, he'll have the votes needed to be
They'll have
a
the
sitting
plurality, yes,
member.
sir. Yes, sir.
He's a top vote getter with all the public bodies.
Each member of the court has how many votes?
Yeah.
Well, there is no requirement that each member have a particular number of votes.
Well,
It's- the vote comes-
assuming that equal representation.
Yeah, we just.
And that would make it what's the total that we have? 185, 1,001? A ver, Commissioner, démelo para acá. 785.
That would be 237 votes per commissioner and judge. That's divided by 5.
Right.
That's 1,185 divided by 5. Or it's 266 if you include the
Yeah,
drainage district.
239, according to my math.
But there's 4 of us here.
But each member of the court gets, an equal number.
Who's going to vote for?
Are you okay with this, or you want some changes?
I'm saying individually, each member of the court has 200 and whatever.
39.
237.
I would like
237.
237. 237, Judge.
237?
Yes, sir.
I would reserve that for precinct 2.
You want your 237?
Right.
To who?
Pete Garcia.
He would get 489.29.
But you're gonna cut, the other ones are gonna
Right.
be different.
And
So-
that'll bring the number down from 837, would it not?
Yes, sir. Yes, Judge.
Yeah, can you numerically figure it out?
Certainly. I've got a spreadsheet that I can do that. It'll take me a little bit
And
to get that.
I'll table this item, you gentlemen get together, figure it out, and get us the impact that those votes will have.
Judge, just take no action on this item, we'll come back to it.
Well, we want to do it today.
I understand, but you don't want to table it, just take no action, we'll come back to it later in the meeting.
All right, at this time, we're not going to be taking any action and tabling it until a little later on in the meeting.
Yes, sir. Okay.
But I would suggest you contact
Si repartes eso, Angel and David. Angel and David.
237.
That's what they divide.
Voted for David.
118 per.
All right, include, Commissioner Cuellar wants to divide up his 237 between Angel Magallanes and David Hernandez.
I think if we take a 5-minute break, we can figure this right away.
Yeah.
I know, let's go do that.
Okay.
We're going to take a recess. It's now,
Can't do it together.
We can't do it together.
Got to discuss it in public.
Well, as long as there's no
you
quorum.
want to just go back and figure it out.
Yes, sir.
Bring it back. No action.
Okay, we're going to come back to that item number 6A in a while. Let's proceed now to item 6B.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners, Oscar Montoya, County Judge's Office. Item 6B, discussion, consideration, and approval of the letter of support for the Rio Grande Regional Water Authority. And I'll read it to you, it's pretty self-explanatory. This is a letter of support written to Joe Barrera, the Executive Director of the Rio Grande Regional Water Authority. Letter of support for the Strategic Water Management Plan. Hidalgo County is pleased to offer our support of the Lower Rio Grande Valley Strategic Water Management Plan as initiated by the Rio Grande Regional Water Authority. Hidalgo County understands the importance of determining the most efficient methodologies to manage the water resources available to the Lower Rio Grande Valley and to reliably meet the future agricultural and municipal water demands from the regional perspective. The service area intended to receive benefits from this project are portions of Hidalgo, Willacy, and Cameron counties, which includes my jurisdiction being Hidalgo County. As presented, the components include in the study are agricultural conservation measures, reuse of treated wastewater, reverse osmosis, RO, technology to treat brackish groundwater and seawater, which may interface with some of the facilities planned by Hidalgo County. We understand that the RGRWA, along with Black and Veatch, is pursuing grant applications from the Texas Water Development Board and other funding agencies to offset some of the cost of this effort. Hidalgo County intends to support coordination efforts by providing information, staff involvement, executive leadership to help successfully complete and guide this project. I understand that the additional supplementary funds to support the effort will be evaluated and quantified in the near future for consideration by all stakeholders. Thank you for the opportunity to participate in this exciting and timely project. Any questions, contact me, and it's the judge's number. Signed, sincerely, Ramon Garcia, County Judge. And basically what it is that, as everybody knows, and I think there was a presentation this morning in the Drainage District about putting plans in to the regional plan, and this is supporting putting together that regional plan.
Mr. Montoya, is there any fiscal impact to the county?
Not at this time, sir. If that would be, what we're committing to at this time is assistance of manpower, of people, of information. If there is going to be any financial obligations, it would be later on and addressed at that time. At this
There's a
time, there's none.
motion, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen, and Merry Christmas.
Likewise. Balde.
Commissioner Valdi's not here, but I think what he would say is there's no action at this time on the agenda.
Well,
There may be action further down the
okay.
agenda.
There he is, right there.
Yeah.
Got a motion?
Yeah.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item, number 7, Mr. Guerra.
Okay, well, thank you, Judge. There's no action under item 7A1 and 2 unless there's action to be taken further down the agenda. Item 7B, I'm going to ask Mr. Palacios to give a concise but as brief as he can, because we are limited in time today. and it'll be under B1, renovations to former administration building, first and second floors. Mr. Palacios?
Thank you, Mr. Guerra. County Judge, County Commissioners. My name's Alex Palacios, and I'm with Prodigy Construction Management, and with me I have Mr. Jerry Garcia, also Project Manager for Prodigy. And I know that you have a long agenda, so we'll get right to it. First of all, again, for the audience, this is the Hidalgo County Court administration renovations of the first and second floor. Parties involved is Prodigy Construction, D. Wilson Construction, and AGA Architect and Associates. Next slide, please. Before you, what we have is we have the first floor staircase removal. If you look closely, basically the first order of business for this item is to have or not to have is the question. We went through several cycles of revision to your drawing on your left-hand side that illustrates in red the existing staircase that we once had. The question would be that do we keep them or not keep them? Currently, we spoke to the individuals, which is a fire marshal, and it does result that we can do away with them, either keep them or do away with them. And so what we're illustrating to the right is that we showed the distances of 8 feet in the atrium there for people to come in and out freely. And then between the atrium to the existing wall over to the right, further right, is approximately 18 feet 4 inches, Mr. Guerra. I know that you asked for that dimension that we didn't have.
Right.
So we approximately, by removing the stairway, it would allow the public, the audience, the community to congregate in 18 feet 4 inches of lobby area. So, you know, at this point, we will wait for direction from the governing body to either to keep or remove. Either way, it still serves a good purpose. It wouldn't hinder the design or the project.
And if I may, Mr. Palacios, Judge, Commissioners, the reason I asked him to do that is because we met with the City of Edinburgh's Fire Marshal's Department. And so we've given them a copy of the proposed plan, and they will get back to us with respect to if they will allow us to eliminate. Again, if there is a problem with respect to eliminating and we leave it there, there is still plenty of room, but that was the purpose of what I asked Mr. Palacios to do. And I will give him direction once I have direction or a decision from the City of Edinburgh.
We do comply, just on that note, we do comply with all the exits, the entrances,
Right.
the means of egress, and other avenues within the building. So we are good to go there.
Right, thank you.
Next item. The next item is a update that we happened over the Thanksgiving holidays. Very briefly, we came to you on an item that we had to do what I called the open heart surgery for the building on the multi-floors. The chiller system required the chiller system required of incorporating some valves to contain the water to proceed with the demolition. We came to the Commissioner's Court, we requested approvals, we executed with the Executive Office, we coordinated with the District Attorney's Office, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th floor, and the county building grounds, Mr. Daniel Flores. The old saying is no news is good news. We went through this operation without any problems of stopping of the progress of the remaining floors above. The next item, the project demolition, the next bullet down below, which should be the demolition of the work documents. We're at 95% complete. And the next item is that we're still pending on some drawings from the architect on the Commissioner's Court meeting area. It's intended for those drawings to be in the Commissioner's Court or in our hands by December the 16th, with our objective to present to you on December the 20th of 2013, which would be your last Commissioner's Board meeting for the year. Next time. Any questions on this slide?
Mr. Palacio, last time there was a question about blueprints given to the construction company. Has that been resolved?
Sir, we have received a portion of those documents, and the design team is still forthcoming with the rest of the remaining, like I mentioned here on that bullet number 3 at the bottom. We expect to receive the final Commissioner's Court's renovations by December the 16th.
About the blueprints for the entire project, have those been provided to the construction company?
Sir, generally speaking, we do have a complete set of drawings that were issued several years ago. Those are the working documents that we have, but there's been some changes, modifications, and revisions to date, and we have not received all those in their entirety. We intend to bring you those as soon as they're completed by the design team. So as soon as they get drafted and completed and sealed and certified, we will bring those to the governing body for final approval.
The reason I'm asking that is because we already paid 100% of the construction documents to the architect. And there was a question of whether or not they had been delivered to the construction company. That's why I wanted to resolve that. But you're saying that you have a complete set of documents?
Sir, I cannot attest to the payments of the design team, but we do have a set that we're working with that were approved, I guess, once upon a time, a couple of years back. But if I may, there's some updates that I'd like to bring because we have made some changes to them. Those changes, I believe, that you're asking for of the construction documents, we have not received yet, but they're forthcoming because we have been requesting them. I think we worked real late last night to try to get some update from the mechanical engineer to provide us with that information for today's presentation. So they're moving in, they're coming in, but very, very slow. However, we're on top of that. Does that answer your question, sir?
Kind of. Thank you.
Okay. The next item, as we mentioned before, this is a snapshot of what we do, what we give to our clients and internally. Basically, this snapshot gives you almost every question that you may have, from budget to cost estimates to allowances. I'll go over it very briefly on some highlights. The project started at $3.3 million. To date, we have a betterment, a total allowance contingency of $101,000 embedded in the project. It has not been touched. It's still intact. On the next to the right, we have the completion of the project. We're 10% inclusive of the 100% demolition. The RFI status, we have 2 total requests for instructions. We have a proposal request on the table. It's a CCD, not a change order. I'll say that again. It is a CCD, constructive change directive, of approximately $8,000. And we are on payment application number 2 from the general contractor. That means that we have not released all of the money, the entirety, with the percentage that the work has been performed. And that is a good thing. Any questions on the summary report? Next item. This particular next slide, the first order of business here is that on the left side of the page, you will see, and Mr. Fracio, I believe this may answer your question. This is what the intent was originally for this layout on the first floor on the west wing. Because of some lack of restrooms that were needed, this was the proposed area. However, in lieu of the items that have arisen, for example, the chill water system and the vault, Judge, it's the safe, in blue to the right, this particular area posed a problem to the overall design because it is a load-bearing safe, a vault. It carries the weight of the 5th, the 4th, and the 3rd floor, inclusive of the 2nd floor. So it was just not something to just eliminate and replace it with bathrooms. We were able to evaluate the drawings and capture this issue. And since then, the next slide, if you go to the next page, you will see that there has been design revisions on the left side on 11/27/2013. The design team and staff have been going around to try to come up with a solution to go from what's on your left side to the right side of the building. Next slide, please. As you can see, there's been some changes, or there's some changes that highlights that the reasons why that vault or safe can absolutely not be removed from the plans or from its existing location without absorbing or without taking on an extremely large amount change order. Next slide, please. This is another example on the northeast side, another vault in the first floor area. As you can see, the picture or the sketch on the left-hand side shows the intent of the design team and the coordination of the staff. However, during the demolition, we also identified that the existing vault was also another load-bearing vault that sustains the weight of the floors above. Next item, please. Another item that came to light was the plumbing design. The sketches shown, that the lines in red illustrate a preliminary plumbing design from the original engineer. The concern there was that even though on paper it may look really nice and really easy, but if you look at the existing electrical room in red there, almost in the center of the page, that is, although nice on paper, but impossible to do. The contractor and ourselves raised similar concerns that we needed to revise that drawing because that is the heart and soul of the first floor of the entire building. That is where your electrical and your IT department is a hub. So on the next slide, we were able to modify and work with the executive office, the design team, to try to come up with a solution to modify that. What we did basically is that working with the executive office, we basically moved the line, the plumbing line, out of sight, out of mind, and tried to, we encroached it into the Commissioner's Court area. Will it cause a problem? No. So that fixed that problem. In doing so, at the same time, we were able to remove the restrooms. If you remember from the first slide, we took those restrooms, we were able to relocate them to that area in blue and adjust the sanitary sewer line to bypass the electrical hub room. There is still some concerns there, but it's something that the contractor and ourselves feel comfortable that we can proceed with that without causing any major stoppage or constraints onto the project.
Is that going to take care of that smell there?
Yes. Yes, it will, Commissioner.
Sir, when we demolished the plumbing, the type of system that we had above the attic space, a lot of your plumbing lines in the first floor were in the attic space. The air conditioning system of that type was an attic return. And when during the demolition, we found those cast iron pipes, hairline cracks. Yeah. So when the return system called for air, you were siphoning all the sewers, the sewage.
Right, that's why we had that problem there, Commissioner, but this will address it.
Why is it every time we go put water on the trap there by the bathroom, we'll take care of it? Or we would run over and put water and Clorox on those traps?
Right, but just in that general vicinity, we still had the smell on the other part, but we couldn't smell it.
There were no P-traps when we went up on the attic space. The P-traps were located below, so the P-traps above the attic space were always dry. We satisfied the ground P-traps, but not the attic P-traps. So, but all of that is completely demolished. It's gone. Next slide. As you can see on this particular footprint here, there was another change modification with the existing safe or vault there with the restrooms. And we did some changes there to the left-hand side in blue. The restrooms, again, this is a close-up view of the proposed architect's layout on the left with the new proposed plan to the right. Now, on this one, Judge, there was some back and forth discussion of where the entrance was. Do we do it before or after certain areas? Well, collaboratively, we identified the right location for the right use of that door, as you can see there on the new proposed plan. I think that will satisfy and pacify all issues and conditions. So, next slide, please. Moving on, this is a progress report pictures of what the inside looks right now. Most demolition sites are always dirty. This one is ready to go. It is fully prepped to start the new construction, but most importantly, what we call the saw cuts. We are ready to perform that once we receive the plans from the design team. Another angle of the progress set, that was an entire restroom there. All the piping, the sewage, all of it has been demolished and eliminated. This is the front area. As you can see, the vault, one of the vaults that you see before you, that's got a really nice door. The door's open there on your right-hand side. This is the frontal area. Right beyond the door, that was where your escalator was. As you can see, the escalator is no longer there. That is the opposite view of the door where the pit was, where the escalator landed. And as you can see, that is forthcoming, that we need to address that issue because it wasn't addressed during the design. No one really knew that there was a hole in that pit there for the landing of the escalator. But we'll address that on a later date. Next item. And that is all we have.
Have all these proposed changes been presented to the architect, and does he have it in his plans, and have the plans been provided to the contractor?
Sir, the proposed changes, we have addressed several of them. Most of them have gone to zero because we're doing a financial balancing act of what is in the contractor's agreement and what is in the design team's agreement. So basically, we're addressing them and they're coming out to a wash. The only one that we presented to you today, which the architect does have, to answer your question, in his hands, which he processed, was an estimated CCD for $8,000. That means that as your construction management team, we still have the latitude to bring that cost number down. We did this because we needed to move quickly and expeditiously to perform the work over the Thanksgiving holidays. So we finished the job on Friday. They worked Thanksgiving Day and Friday, and we were able to install the valves. Our next window of opportunity to do any type of open heart on this project is going to be Christmas time, which we have nothing on the books to perform.
The contractor 2 weeks ago was complaining that we had not given him, or that the architect had not provided him with the updated plans.
That's correct.
Has that occurred?
That occurred, sir.
But have the plans already been provided to the contractor?
A portion of the plans have been provided to him, and as I mentioned, on December the 16th, the design team has committed to the executive office and ourselves that he would have those plans in our office. He is finishing the final revisions for the Commissioner's Court area. We had other areas to revise. Those he addressed last week, and up until 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock last night, and he's working. His final set would be the 16th, the Commissioner's Court, and a revision that was approved yesterday on the second floor for the offices there. We just received this, so he will have it in his hands today.
Alde, do we need anything else on this item?
No, Judge, and actually, I will, out of an abundance of caution, I'll ask the court just to take action with respect to what's been presented, the changes that have occurred, and for me to get a directive to ask the architect to provide those plans this week to our contractor so that we can get moving along.
Any questions?
Please.
For approval?
So what is this being approved, whatever changes he's proposing, or?
No, what's being approved is, or let me rephrase that.
What Valdez's
I want
motion was.
right, I want the court to acknowledge the changes that occurred because the original plans called for, especially with the safes and the areas that we know that we cannot do. Okay, so I just want the court to acknowledge what was discovered, the vaults, the issue with the plumbing, how we resolve that issue, and just for me to get a directive so that I can communicate to the architect the importance of him wrapping it up this week so we can get it over to our general
All
contractor.
right, we have a motion and a
Because
second to that effect.
you indicated earlier that the stairway was going to be removed, possibly depending on city of
Right,
Edinburgh.
that, Mr. Professor, I've already gotten authority to do that. Again, if the city says that I can't do it, it stays. If I can, I've already gotten authority from the last session.
All right, those in favor of the motion as made and seconded indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Dan? Dan?
Next item is our district attorney's office.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. We're
Morning, sir.
requesting authorization and approval to accept the memorandum of understanding between the Hidalgo County District Attorney's Office and the Hidalgo County Health Department. The Health Department was able to secure a grant for $50,000 to purchase some equipment and supplies for, just in case of a mass casualty. They've purchased a trailer to transport bodies if need be, and cadaver lift, body bags, and other supplies with those monies.
I move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank
you, sir. Item 9, our tax office. Valde, let's move, we'll come back to item 9A. Valde, do you want to take care of 9A?
Yes, I'll go ahead and take care of the item 9 for the tax office. Actually, I will ask the court to approve the following invoices. They're claims for AT&T. They're for June 7th, July 7th, August 7th, September 7th, and October 7th. Grand total of is $102.09. Again, this would be with authority for the county treasurer to issue the check after the review and auditing procedures are completed by our county auditor's office.
But then what is the status on the contract regarding telephone
Renan.
services?
As this is an issue that we've addressed in the past.
Okay, so that's kind of an open-ended question, Mr. Palacio, because different services are on different contracts. So most of the services we contract with are on contract. Now, once in a while, you'll see a claim because some services, for example, the county's 1-800 numbers are not on any state-awarded contract. So we've been back and forth with your office, and your office actually suggested that we made them claims to get them paid while AT&T resolves the issue. So those are the claims that are 3 items down. The lines for the tax office, this is a circuit that they disconnected and they hadn't disconnected or hadn't been paid after it got disconnected, and that's what we're seeing here in 9A.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve payment of these claims. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
So I didn't get a direct answer to the question that I had.
Most of the county telephone services are under state-awarded.
This particular one right here, is it going to be under contract or not?
Which ones? The ones, these?
9A is approval of the AT&T account number.
I'm on these particular lines, I would not know the answer to that question, but I will email you the answer when I get to the office.
Thank you, sir.
May I take 12A out of order since I'm up here, sir?
Which one?
12A?
It's related, Judge.
It's
the same
related,
type
it's
of
the
action.
telephone. It's the county's 800 numbers. This is a claim to pay the outstanding invoice. We're working with AT&T to get these under their state-awarded contracts, but to get these paid, we're putting them down as claims. So authorization for 12A requesting approval for the following claim invoice with the authority for the county to pay as listed.
Same question, Renan. Any idea when we're going to get a contract?
I would not know, sir. We've been negotiating with AT&T, and the state awards take a while. This is nothing that is within our control. They're negotiating with the state on these.
We have, I believe, a motion and a second. All right, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge. Appreciate it.
I noticed Mr. Bobby Guerra and our state representative. Bobby, are you here in a particular item?
It's an executive session.
Oh, all right.
We're here on the executive session matter, item number 2.
All right, sir. It'll be a little while then. Item 10A.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Merry Christmas. I have item 10A, sir, discussion action including but not limited to Hidalgo County Health Funding District and/or expenditures. Sir, there is no action on this, but just a reminder that on the 20th, we are going to redo the hearing we had for the funding district to set the rate for the hospitals this year, and all the information and data will be forthcoming for you before that meeting. Judge and Commissioners and Mr. Flacio will get all that to you. So we're going to do that again on the 20th. That's the only thing on that item, unless you have any questions for that item. And item 10B, there is no action unless there's questions on 10B. Thank you, sir, and have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Item 11, emergency management.
Once again, good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Item 11A, we're requesting consideration and authorization for Hidalgo County to execute a memorandum of understanding between Hidalgo County and the City of McAllen, establishing ownership of the core radio controller purchased under the Assistance to Firefighters Grant. Now, in November, the court authorized us to go into an agreement with the City of McAllen in an interlocal, and this was as a result of a request on the auditor's office to delineate the ownership of the item a little bit better, and that's basically what the MOU is.
So, second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Guess I make sure that I can do it at one.
Deanna?
All right, next item, Urban County.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Morning, ma'am.
Morning.
Our first item on the agenda is a request to award a bid and approval of a contract under the Owner-Occupied Housing Rehabilitation Program It is for one unit in the city of Mercedes for the demolition and reconstruction to A1 installation in the amount of $56,350.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Next item is requesting authorization to enter into a 6-month lease agreement for a DM100 digital mailing system with Pitney Bowers. It's an awarded vendor through the Buy Board, and the contract number is 407-12, and it's in the amount of $70 a month.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
We are requesting the award of a bid and approval of contracts under the owner-occupied housing rehabilitation program for one unit in the city of Granjeno in the amount of $55,890 to Argo Construction, and one unit in the city of Granjeno for a rehabilitation project in the amount of $16,500 to A1 installation.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item D is requesting the approval of a program amendment for a City of Donna project. The proposed amendment is for fiscal year '21, which is our funding from 2008. The city would like to create a new street improvement project to allow for the construction of Victoria Road from Business 83 to Sites Road.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item E is on a request on behalf of Precinct 3, requesting approval of amendment to professional service agreement with Javier Hinojosa Engineering to increase the agreement by $7,200, and this will be so that they can do the meets and bounds for a piece of property that will be donated by the Irrigation District Number 6, I believe.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Our final item is requesting the authorization to dispose of community development block grant records from program years 1987 to 2008.
That's the same one we had last week?
The one we discussed last week, yes.
Oh, move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 14, elections.
Once again, good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. My item is 14A. 1, discussion, consideration, and action for posting early voting rosters on the Hidalgo County Elections Department's website as per Election Code Section 87.121. They're titled Early Voting Rosters. And I did include Section 87.121 from the Texas Election Code that doesn't say that we have to have it online. It just says we have to have them available by the start of the next business day. When I came on board over 5 years ago, this practice was already being done. I researched to see if it had been brought to court, and it hadn't been brought to court. So I wanted to make sure that Commissioners' Court was in approval of us posting the voter rosters online. And that's what number 1 is.
Need a second?
Check.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Now, number 2 is discussion, consideration, and action for posting Election Day rosters on the Hidalgo County Elections Department's website. Now, there is no election code that says that we can or that we can't. I did discuss this with the legal department at the Secretary of State's office, and because there's no law that says we cannot, it's up to this court to decide if, in fact, you would allow us to post Election Day voter rosters online. Everything is open records, and everyone asks for them. I just wanted to see if this court wanted them online.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Yvonne.
Yes, sir.
At the election voting sites, have you addressed it, early voting? Can you get on the, please? Raul, just a minute.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
We are at the very end of getting those ready. In fact, next court, I am bringing the election early voting and the mobile units to this court for approval, and we are working diligently with the party chairs because they are the ones who help us select election day, and we're almost there with them. We're hoping to be able to bring those as well. I will be sending you all the drafts, though, and in fact, I think we already may have. I'll check.
The issue there would be the judges. What about the sites, the location of the voting sites?
Well, that's what we're working with. Before we can select judges and clerks, we've got to select and get those sites approved. We're having some issues with, for example, the Civic Center in Mercedes. I put in a call to the city manager this morning because they need us to leave midday on Saturday, the 22nd of February, and of course we can't. So we're just trying to work out the last minute issues, but it's 95% finished and almost ready to bring to court.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Item 15.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners, Raul Singh, Planning Administrator. Item is discussion and possible action to execute the LPA Standard Utility Agreement for FM 681 with Sharyland Water Supply Corporation, AUV Texas Central. This has already been reviewed by legal counsel. The form was originally approved by this court back in December of 2012, last year. So now it's gone through AEP and Sharyland. They've looked at it. Everything's been prepared. It's been signed by them. It's been reviewed by TxDOT, and everything's in order for this execution. Once the work is done, my office will be monitoring the construction with assistance from the precinct and the consultant, L&G Engineering, and we'll be submitting the required paperwork to get the reimbursement back from TxDOT. The county will not spend any money until we get certification from TxDOT, everything's in order, and then we'll pay that money to the utility provider and then get that money back from TxDOT. So, and my office will be managing that. Everything's in order, legal's reviewed it. It's in order for execution.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. 16, Precinct 1.
Commissioner, can you read the item?
Yes, approval of certification of revenues as certified by the county auditor for TxDOT reimbursement of DCAP forced labor, El Mezquite subdivision and Mid Valley Estate subdivision. Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor
These are reimbursements from TxDOT for Border Colonia projects that were done in-house by our forced labor through our crews.
Number 2.
Those in favor say aye on that number 1.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Number 2 is approval of an appropriation of the funds to our Precinct 1 Road and Bridge line items in the amount of $119,246.61.
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item, Precinct 2.
Aye.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. Precinct 2, Raul Seguero, representing Commissioner Palacios. Item 17A is approval of interlocal cooperation agreement between the Military Highway Water Supply Corporation and the County of Hidalgo to extend 10-inch portable water supply line.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
In accordance with Section 791.014 of the Texas Government Code, requesting approval of the interlocal cooperative agreement project to assist the Military Highway Water Supply Corporation in the extension of a 10-inch portable water supply line for the Precinct 2 Equipment and Maintenance Facility Project.
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners.
Yes. Budget.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. Sergio Cruz, Department of Budget Management. Item 18A, 1A and B is approval of certification of revenues as certified by the county auditor and appropriation of those funds in the amount of $549,575. This is for the FM 1925 road project.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners.
Sir?
Martha
Purchasing.
Salazar for the Purchasing Department, 19A1. This has been put on the agenda. It had been on the agenda a couple of weeks ago. This is presentation, consideration, and applicable action on the engagement of professional consulting services provider in connection with securing funding from Settlement BP Deepwater Horizon Restoration Project, including but not limited to the following options: either going through an exemption for professional services or putting out an RFP for those services. I don't know what the court wishes to do at this point.
Which one is?
Well, what I've been able to find out, the presentation that was done a couple of weeks ago indicated that they had several contracts already. I know they have Jefferson County, there's an Orange County interlocal, and Chambers County. Those three, I believe, are related, and they're to the same vendor, which is Mr. Richardson. However, I cannot find how they procured him.
I'm sorry, you cannot find what?
We can't find, and I've done a lot of research on their minutes of those counties. All I can find is where they accept his agreement. I have asked the vendor, Mr. Richardson, to provide me either the minutes of the exemption as a sole source, exemption as a professional service, or as an award off of an RFP. The person, Mr. Berlanga, who had made the presentation several weeks ago, at one point stated that they had been sole sourced, but at the same time said that Nueces County had not gone with them, but with some other folks. That's the way he said it. However, when I tried to get information from Nueces as to who they engaged and how, they're clueless. They say they don't have any contract for the BP Deepwater.
And what county was that, Marty?
Nueces. Cameron has opted out. They feel that they are in good standing with the Republican governor and will be receiving funding anyway.
Do you need more time on it? Do you want to bring it back?
Well, I just can't seem to get the information to provide you. The minutes do not reflect any type of...
Why don't you put these issues down in writing, and I'll get them addressed. I'll call Mr. Richardson and
Okay, we've been in
Mr.
contact with
Berlanga.
him.
Yeah, and then you can bring it back.
And he has provided us this information, but it doesn't answer the question we're trying to ascertain. So at this point, I just put it on
No,
because...
we don't want to take any action, not until you're satisfied.
Correct. I just wanted you to know what I've been able to get so far. And there's just that one issue that no one seems to be able to answer for me as to how did those three counties actually get the contract. You find the contract being accepted and even amended on their minutes, but it never tells you how it started.
Go bring it back.
So I've had a lot of problems with
Yeah,
that.
you bring it back then.
Okay, I will. No action then on item 19A1.
But put down
A or B.
those concerns in writing.
They will be done in writing.
All right.
Item 2, acceptance and approval to exercise the option to extend the current interlocal cooperation agreement for an additional 1 year as stipulated detailed in the agreement between Hidalgo County and the City of Edinburgh for municipal solid waste and tire disposal services. This originally had a 2-year extension. Unfortunately, last year, on the agenda, we noted 1 year instead of 2. That's why I brought it back.
So this is to go with Edinburgh, City of Edinburgh?
Yes, this is with their landfill.
To extend it.
Yeah.
To extend it, right.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 3, this is request by Lessor Triple R Medical Facilities with recommendation from the Urban County Programs Director, Ms. Sevna, to approve an additional days on the acceptance dates for the construction of the lease of office space for the Urban County project through December of this year. They're just about ready to move in.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
B, for Precinct 4, A1, requesting approval of a professional architectural on-call services agreement with Robert Kistner for purposes of repairs and renovations, remodeling, and other additions and alterations on a per-project basis.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
B, requesting approval of a professional engineering services agreement with LNG Consulting Engineers, DBA LNG Engineering, professional engineering services in connection with job-specific project environmental assessment, public involvement, schematic and hydrologic, got it, design for FM 1925 from FM 907 Alamo Road east to State Highway 68, Uresti Street.
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
C, pursuant to Article 14 of the Professional Engineering Services Agreement with LNG Consulting Engineers, approval to engage the services of subcontractor Amatera Environmental Incorporated.
For approval.
Check.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item D is requesting approval of work authorization number 1 in the amount of $549,575 from LNG Consulting Engineers, DBA LNG Engineering, for the professional engineering services in connection with the job-specific project that was already named.
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries.
Item E, requesting approval of a professional surveying services agreement with Aranda and Associates for the purpose of job-specific surveying services for Brewster Park project.
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
The next one is C, for budget and management, approval of Hidalgo County to exercise the first of 2 possible one-year extensions as provided in the RFP for property and casualty insurance with acceptance and approval of detailed schedule of premiums and fees as attached hereto for the 2014 coverage summary of property and casualty insurance policies in the amount of $2,590,729 effective January 1st, 2014 through January 1st, 2015, with authority for the county treasurer to issue payment after the processing procedures. There is a concern.
Right, and Sergio, as we discussed, could you
Yes.
explain that we're getting that addressed next week?
Yes, this payment will be made out of a prepaid account, and we'll fund on the 20th, the 2014 budget, we'll amend the budget to provide the additional funding for
Additional
the insurance
funding.
coverage.
Given when we do this, Commissioners, we don't know what the exact amount is, and so we take our best faith effort or guesstimate, and we were off $250,000, I think,
I think it was about $300,000.
$300,000. So, but we will have the funding in place, as we know we have to, that we need this for 2014.
Underscore it by 10%. What?
I think at this point, there's no sufficient funding for 2014, but I think Sergio
Right,
will-
we're gonna address-
will
right,
transfer next week, you said?
Yes, that's being addressed.
That'll be enough.
Yes.
So we're all right.
Recommending approval.
Yes,
Judge.
we're recommending approval.
Move for
We
approval.
do.
A second?
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
C2 is presentation of the scoring grid below for the purposes of ranking by Commissioner Court as qualified to continue the process of the responses received and evaluated in connection with the RFP excess workers' compensation insurance in order to proceed forward for the negotiation portion of the process. There were 2 submissions, Montalvo Insurance Agency and the Clement Agency. Clement Agency, as you can see, did not meet the specs or requirements set forth, so the only one that could be evaluated was Montalvo Insurance Agency, so we need the court to evaluate or consider them qualified to proceed with the process.
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B is requesting authority for purchasing to enter into negotiations with the number 1 ranked proposer, Montalvo Insurance, for excess workers' compensation insurance.
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Marty, what were the specs that were not complied with? You saying they were not,
I would have to give,
Various?
I can send you that. There was various issues, yes,
all right, thank you.
as detailed by the Benefits Department. They were the ones who were grading it. Going on to item 3, presentation of scoring grid below for the purposes of ranking of Commissioners Court. The responses received for Quality Claims Administration Services for workers' compensation. In order to proceed forward with the next phase, there was TriStar Risk Management and one-to-one claims. The scores are 96 for TriStar, 81 for one-to-one. Does the court wish to rank them in the order of their scores?
TriStar.
TriStar is 1 and one-to-one is 2.
Move for approval.
There's a motion, and Joe,
Yes, sir. I'm with you.
There's a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Item B would be requesting authority for the purchasing department to enter into negotiations with the number one ranked proposer, and that would be TriStar.
Move for approval. Second.
There's a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you, that is all I have.
But we don't have anything pending.
We have one item pending on the regular agenda, which is the appraisal district votes, and then we do have to go into closed session, Commissioner.
Let's go to closed session.
So let's, yes.
We gotta wait for that one's still pending.
Right, we can go into closed
No.
session, and we'll come out of
Go to
closed session, we can
executive
take up
session
that last item.
Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
No action under item A, real estate acquisition, and I'm talking about 21A, open session. No action on 21B, pending and or potential litigation. There's no action under item C, Saldana et al. Versus Hidalgo County. Item D, we will proceed as directed on Garcia versus Hidalgo County. Item E, EEOC charge number 451-2014-00350, Eugenia Andrade. Judge Commissioners, I want to refer back to item 7A1 and 2. 7A1, I'm requesting exemption from the competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code, Section 2620224A4, professional service for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation. A motion to that effect?
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item 7A2, requesting engagement with the firm of Atlas Hall and Rodriguez for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation, authority to submit letter of engagement. Specifically, EEOC charge number 451-2014-00350, Eugenia Andrade. I have a motion to that effect.
Approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item 21F, Judge Commissioners, I'd like the court to consider and accept the settlement C on case number C 1989-12-B, Domingo Gonzalez versus County of Hidalgo in the 93rd Judicial District Court of Hidalgo County, Texas, in the amount of $25,000.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 21G, subrogation claim against Erasmo Luna. Judge Commissioners, I'd like for the court to accept the subrogation against Erasmo Luna in the amount of $3,000.
Approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 21H, subrogation claim against Noe Vela Castillo. There's no action at this time. And item 21I, claim of Elda Martinez. Judge Commissioner, I'd like settlement authority to make an offer in the amount of $3,887.84.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge Commissioners, we have one final action item, which is the appraisal district.
Yeah,
Judge?
item 6A.
Judge Commissioners, we took direction from the court, and as directed, we appropriated the ballots, or the actual votes, in this way. Precinct 1, Angel Magallanes, we gave 118.5 votes, and David Hernandez, 118.5. Each commissioner gets 237 votes. So we split those in half, Commissioner Cuellar, as per your wishes. Precinct 2, as per the wishes of Commissioner Palacios, Pete Garcia received all 237 of those votes. Precinct 3, Commissioner Flores, as directed, Amador Requenes received 118.5, and Albert Cardenas received 118.5 votes. Precinct 4, all 237 votes went to Richard Garza. Judge, your votes went David Hernandez, 150 votes, and Eddie Cano, 87 votes, as per your wishes.
You need action on that?
Yes, sir.
Move for approval.
Second.
And the effect of that is that the nominees that have been selected will be Albert Cardenas, Amador Requenes, Richard Garza, David Hernandez, and Eddie Cano.
Yes, sir. The totals would be,
Yes, that was the second one I mentioned. Aye, those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge, Commissioners, there are no more action items.
Aye, need a motion to adjourn?
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
We
thank you,
have,
gentlemen.
Te gané.